Zach, what's the acclimation process like here this week and trying to learn the playbook?
Yeah, obviously getting the day one installs with a lot of that, getting a grasp for it, making that transition. Meeting with Coach Mid a lot. He's a great dude. First time I met with him, face to face. With a lot of the staff here, so it's been a really great process so far.
When you're 6'8", what goes into the decision, football over basketball?
Yeah, I guess you could say I made that decision, earlier than later for me. I thought it was always important to, be well-rounded, obviously year-round. Learn that from my older siblings as well. Helps you to obviously just become a better athlete all around. You don't become one-dimensional too soon. I would say, my transition to high school, I kind of made the decision of two spots that I might go. And, at that point, I was kind of like, football. For me, I just, I love the sport. I was fortunate to be pretty good at both of them. But, football in the end is just, way more fun to play.
Did you get some Division I basketball offers?
Yeah, I had plenty of looks for basketball, and it was as short as the coach would come and talk to me. I was like, I'm going to play football and really can't change my mind. So, at that point, they're like, okay, well, maybe still consider us, but that was pretty much that.
What level, like what kind of schools were interested in basketball?
Some like local, some some D1 AA's in my area, and then there was a couple schools that I would talk to, and they would say if you ever want to come try out on the basketball team as well, kind of as a two-sport athlete for college, but never something I really kind of seriously pursued. It was always kind of just football for me.
How much of this week in general just kind of feels like first day of school or like in college all over again? You try to get acclimated to a new program, kind of like how you did, whether it be ODU or wherever it is.
Yeah, sure. At this point, obviously pretty used to it, I guess, if you will. Adjusting to, obviously a new facility, new people, meeting some. But I think you gain, knowledge year by year as you kind of do those things. Obviously, going from high school to college, you're really new to everything. But, you learn a lot of, different ways to help you prepare to, be a professional on and off the field. That you're going to have the best production out of you, obviously, when you're out there on the field. But you learn more that it's what you do during the week that gets you prepared for those moments. And I would say, it's just the acclimation. It's filling in different pieces of, places that you've been before. You have those resources, just meeting new people, and the different things we have around us here.
What was your injury, Zach, and when did you suffer it, and kind of what was the time frame for you coming back? Because obviously you made it back for the combine. Was that ever a question in your mind?
Yeah, during that time, I wasn't sure if I was going to be ready to go by that point in terms of just what I was going to be, able to, have as output for the combine. But I did a great job with the team at Exos and Pensacola, helping me rehab, getting me ready for that point, in a really short turnaround. I had surgery on November 1st, so I think it was the 4-month mark, right as we were competing for the combine. So obviously was able to perform well with that, given my circumstance. But the process has been going well. Recovery's been going really good.
Was it your kneecap? Was that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when were you able to really because your times and stuff crazy at the combine. So guys spend months doing that. I can't imagine you were doing much in January, right? When did you really start training for the combine?
Yeah. To be honest with you, I probably only had maybe a month or so of full training, if you will. I was kind of, just acclimating to a lot of those things. It's obviously getting your muscles and your body back to, making those types of movements, making cuts, obviously, in the injuries with the knee. But, like I said, I had a lot of great, people around me that, knew what they were talking about. And we both had a firm understanding of the goals that we had set forth for one another. For me, obviously, and what I wanted to do, and, working with them through that. So did a tremendous job, working with me and obviously achieving that goal of being able to compete at the combine.
Did you surprise yourself at all with the way you tested at the combine?
I knew it was very doable for me, within those parameters. Did I surprise myself? I wouldn't say surprise myself, but, a little pat on the back for some of those things. But the model of training that we kind of did is, you have your peak, your runs, your jumps, things like that. During that week, it's not like you're setting a personal record every single time you're doing it during training. So I think they did a really good job, again, like I said, of training the right way, resting when you need to, being heavier load or high volume, with a lot of those just different workouts within the plan that helped me be successful.
Before that week, did you think there was a chance the chances of you being drafted were a lot lower than that? Like, did you think that made the difference in you being a drafted player?
Sure. I think there's a lot of different variables that kind of go into that. Obviously you'd love to have, my last year not having, coming off an injury and doing that. I knew it was very doable for me to obviously be in the position that I am now. I think my performance at the combine definitely helped, in terms of just raw athleticism and what I'm able to do, physically. But that's why you go through the interview processes and everything, and such a deep tight end class. It is what it is at that point. It's no discredit to like any of those guys. I think there's a lot of great players. And, in the end of the day, I'm a Jet, and I'm very happy for it.
How do you think you fit in with this group with Uzama and Conklin and Ruckert, who was a draft pick last year? How do you see yourself kind of complimenting those guys?
Yeah, honestly, right now, my biggest thing is just, obviously being able to meet those guys here soon. Just getting a feel for the room. I think it's a big thing. That's what I love about tight ends is, it's a lot of guys, cheering for one another. Everybody's kind of in there in each other's corner. So I'm excited for the opportunity, learn from those guys who have obviously been doing it for a while. They probably know a thing or two. They're in the position that they are. I'm the new guy around here, so just going to do everything I can to learn and, like I said, add value and help us win some games.
Is there a player you model your game after? Obviously, not a lot of tight ends are 6'8", but is there someone that you've looked at to try and mirror his skill set?
I've gotten that before. My go-to is usually saying, Mike Gesicki, who, I'm familiar with him, obviously through, the roots at Penn State and, similar coaches that we've had, similar offenses that we've been in. So, it's an easier comparison for me. Obviously, he's an athletic freak, as everybody knows. So, there's certainly traits of his game, that I'd love to say, I kind of exhibit in mine. So, I would say, he's a guy that I kind of see as similar.
What happened at Penn State, Zach, and why did you end up transferring?
Yeah, it took me some time to develop at Penn State. I'm a guy who benefited greatly from, a redshirt year. When I first got to campus, I was, skin and bone, basically. High school, you're asked to, just go be a better athlete than everybody else. And, more times than not, you're able to do that. But, it really helped me learn, the ins and outs of the game. And, I had some great mentors, in my position room, as well as, coaching staff and, going against, first rounders, every single day of practice certainly, makes you into a better player. And, when I was able to earn my degree, I had a great opportunity to reunite with Coach Ronnie at Old Dominion and, it panned out well.
You mentioned this being a deep tight end class and there being some guys taken ahead of you. Is that something you view as motivation? I mean, like you said, nothing against those guys, but is that something that you'll use as motivation moving forward?
Certainly. I always try to play. Obviously there's a chip on my shoulder, and I sat there, with my family, and I counted every single guy. At my position right now, I'm given a great opportunity, and at this point it's in my hands, and what I do with that, and I'm certainly going to maximize it.
You ran hurdles in high school. And
state champion.
Well, right. So
Yeah.
Was it easy for you? How tall were you in high school? Did you just step over them?
Yeah, no, that's always what it was. People would always say, "Oh, you should, have to hire yours," and I would just tell them, "Man, why don't you grow a couple inches?" But no, I was. It's kind of like I said. I got it from my older brother, and he had the high school that he went to. He was the school record holder, and so I'm like, all right, I'm going to go for that. And we actually, tied our times, to the exact 100th of a second. So in that final race I had, I only did it 3 years. He did it 4 because I enrolled early. So I always say if I had one more year, I probably would have got him. But it was very, very different body type for me out there. But I've always used my speed. Obviously, the hurdles aren't much of an obstacle for me. So, you know, it was good, good job there.
How tall were you? Would you say you're 6'7", right? 6'8".
Yeah, you know, I've always been. Some people have, you know, wild growth spurts. I've always been super tall. I mean, like, I was in 8th grade. I was like 6'5". 7th grade, I was dunking on kids in, like, you know, middle school ball. So, you know, so it's always been something. You know, everybody has that kind of Bambi phase. You know, you're growing into your body. You know, my feet grow. I'm tripping over myself and things like that. You know, I've always been tall. I was probably high school. I was 6'6", 6'7". You know, right, you know, that 6'8" bar. You know, now I think I'm done growing. You know, hopefully. But yeah, always been really tall.
Zach, how do
Take a few markers off.
how do you feel about your blocking ability right now, and is that something that you feel like you need to work on?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, you look at any aspect of a game that you can improve on. Everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, or strengths and things, you know, you need to work on. I wouldn't say it's a weakness for me in any shape or form. But, you know, that's another thing where, you know, you make this jump, you go from college to professional, you know, there's a different, you know, pace of play, you know, the speed of the game. You know, obviously there's more complex offenses, same as a defense. So I really think with everything, you know, it really comes down to your technique and your positioning with a lot of that stuff. And, you know, when you have a great position coach and you have a great room of guys that, you know, like I said, have been doing this thing for a while, obviously I have the athletic ability and the potential to, you know, do really good things. So, you know, I'm gonna you know, combine my abilities with the knowledge in the room as well as mine, and I think we're gonna have a great recipe there.
Have you met Mickey Schuler? Yeah, I know he's from Harris.
Yeah, he's from my area. Yep.
Has he been a mentor or any kind of advice from him over the years?
Yeah, actually, there's a time actually I bumped into him at our local car wash, you know, kind of like right in Camp Hill, and you know, thing about my town, everybody knows everybody really, you know, it's a small town there, but you know, for the most part, you know, they say like be yourself and you know, learn from vets. You know, there's obviously, you know, like I've been saying, there's a reason these guys are here, and you know, they're here for so long. So if there's information and, you know, things I can learn from them, I'm going to take that in.
Does Mickey own that car wash?
He does.
I believe so.
Yeah.
It's car washing, right?
Yeah, I believe so. He was getting the coins out of the out of the thing there.
Good.
So,
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
How did the camp go for you?
We went really well. Got to be around Coach Rudy and Coach Nat, being with a bunch of the guys in the LB room, and was able to learn a lot. And being a sponge every single day, just coming in the doors is just a blessing. So just be able to be here right now and stand in front of you guys is just an honor.
How much of this weekend has just been about learning, just getting implemented to a new program, just kind of learning where to go?
For sure. A lot of it's been that. At the same time, it's also coming to see and prove yourself that there's definitely a reason why they drafted me, and that's why kind of was my approach as well. And just being able to get in my routine and get to know everybody around the building, and just being able to be a Jet, you know, just walking in here and knowing my expectation and knowing the role I'm getting ready to play and things like that.
Just knowing you're going to be able to work with a guy like C.J. Mosley, who obviously has a pretty extensive legacy at your position. Just what does that mean, and have you had the chance to talk to him at all yet?
It means so much. You know, he's a great player in the league, one of the best, and I can't wait to learn from him. Communication-wise, I kind of just been locking in on what I got to do just so I can be the best when I walk into the room at the same time as him. And but I can't wait to learn from him and take a lot of notes from him and be under his wing for sure.
Do you know Corey Davis at all from Western Michigan guys?
I know of him. Obviously, he's one of the greats that were to come out of that school, and I kind of just set that as my goal to be somewhere he's at. But personally, not yet. I hope to look forward to meeting him and also learn a lot from him too.
What's the next 2 weeks kind of look like for you, especially leading up to OTAs and later on kind of mandatory minicamp?
For sure. Taking everything I learned this week and perfecting it, staying in shape for sure, getting a lot of conditioning in, and mapping my mindset around just getting ready to play some football for a while.
How big is the opportunity for you to feel like on special teams? Kind of that's rookies. You might not play defense immediately, but you can kind of make the team with special teams.
Yeah, I just feel the opportunity for me just being here is kind of up to me. Just the work I put in, the work I show to put in, the work that the coach allowed me to trust me to do, and the reps I taking advantage of. So I feel like for special teams, a major factor. I feel like I can impact on all four. So I can't wait to show that I can do that. And in defense, I can't wait to get in that playbook some more.
We talked about when you get drafted, like you have experience kind of doing special teams. So just how much can that help you, especially kind of early on in the stage?
Yeah, for sure. When I was at Western, I did a lot of special teams, so I can just get the feel of the game and the speed, and it also impacted me greatly on just being a defensive player, just knowing how to go take on tackles at such a high speed, and just being the aggressor in different type of situations, and just the importance of that part of the side of the game. So definitely impacted me a lot, and the love I have for special teams is definitely something that has grown because of playing that at Western.
You were a running back and a safety, right, in high school?
Yes.
Do you miss the running back part of it? Now you get to hit those guys.
Right. Yeah, I definitely miss running the ball sometimes, but they sometimes they take some big hits. So I got a lot of respect for the guys who are still running the ball to this day. And at the same time, I love being on defense. I love being a linebacker. So I can't say I miss it too much, but I definitely miss sometimes scoring touchdowns.
What can you tell us about your hometown in Mundelein?
Mundelein? Yes.
Is that a suburb of Chicago? And what was it like growing up there?
Yeah, it was a small town. Some town you kind of just drive past, and it was very quiet a lot of days. I have a big family, so I just wrapped myself around them a lot. And for me personally, I just kind of stuck to myself, got my head down, and just worked. I wanted to have a lot of dreams and achievements that I wanted to do, and I was able to do that, thankfully, for a lot of people, and just opportunity that my parents helped me with, and just a lot of people I can't even name just to put me in place to be. So, Mundelein just gave me a lot of opportunity, a lot of a safe place for me to live. Obviously, not everybody can say that, but for me, it gave me that and a platform to just grow into a product that I am today.
I know you still have a lot of work to do, but what was it like growing up and getting to this point of putting an NFL jersey on or putting an NFL helmet on? What was that like?
Yeah, it's definitely surreal. Like every day I just come in and just like, wow, like I just kind of sometimes pat myself in the back at times because, some people see some work, but then there's some work that you just know that goes unseen. And the only person that really knows is probably going to be me. So at the same time, all the guys that are in here too did the same work. So just being next to them was awesome and very appreciative for the experience. And then, it was just very surreal. But at the same time, I'm just ready to work. Like this is the dream come true, and I know that what comes with it, and I'm ready to carry that burden.
When did you know that this was, a potential thing for you that you could get to the NFL?
Yeah, I would say I decided I wanted to do this during around my sophomore year of high school. One of the varsity coach that came up to me, he was like, if you have a great opportunity coming up in varsity this year, and if you can get your mind and body right, you can do it. And I took that and ran with it, put everything into football, and I was again blessed with the opportunity to compete for that spot and earned it. And when I seen that it was going to be reality was probably the year I came off my ACL. It was the junior year, and I just seen what it took to take care of my body, to see on the mental side of things, and just perform and execute, and the importance of doing so. And I feel like right there is when I realized that I love doing it. I love the process of doing it. I love everything about the game.
Anything else for Zaire?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. What's this week been like for you, especially particularly this weekend?
It's been quite an experience, just getting out here, finally being able to say I practice as a pro, and just getting to just live in the moment.
What do you think about your new teammates and coaches?
I think it's a pretty good culture here. It's a lot of good players, and it's a lot of positivity going around, so I feel good about it.
What was it like to start 56 college games? That's very rare.
It felt good. I always made sure I made myself available, so I take that into account.
What was behind the move to LSU for you? What was kind of the motivation there?
It was just our DC had left. Coach Jim knows he went to Ohio State, and just knowing that was home for me, and it was an opportunity for me to go play my last year at home.
Was LSU somewhere you always wanted to play growing up?
Growing up, yes.
Do you think it helped you, just being in part of a different scheme and that kind of thing, and learning another new defense?
Yes, sir. I think it did.
How do you think that could help you in the NFL?
I feel like we ran like more of a pro-style defense at LSU, so I feel like that can help me learn the game faster and translate over quicker.
I think we saw Sauce hanging out yesterday. Did you get a chance to talk to him and kind of pick his brain at all?
Not really. I mean, I've seen him. He's really tall in person, so I mean, I didn't really get to talk to him though.
What's that tradition like at LSU for defensive backs?
I mean, we call ourselves DBU for a reason, so I feel like that speaks for itself. It's the best unit in the country for years. So,
What was it like? I know you touched on this a little bit for a kid from Shreveport to put on that LSU jersey.
It meant a lot. Like I said, coming home, playing my last year, changing the culture around there just meant everything to me, and I just wanted to give it my all for my last year.
Have you gotten any input yet from the coaches of how they see you here position-wise?
I mean, right now it's safety, but I feel like I'm just going to play wherever they see fit.
You talked about kind of coming into a positive atmosphere, but obviously the Jets have been in the news a lot lately, and then to get drafted here, is that something like your friends brought up to you, and what's it been like just kind of being around all this and the energy with Rodgers being here and all that kind of stuff?
I mean, it's been great the past few days, but I've just been living in the moment, just taking it step by step and enjoying this journey so far.
With your positions at Oklahoma State and LSU, can you take us through where you played throughout the process, cornerback, nickel, safety? How did that go?
Throughout my career, I played all over the secondary. My first 2 years, I played nickel. Then I transitioned to corner my last 2 years at Oklahoma State. And this past year at LSU, I played just around everywhere, nickel, corner, and safety.
Do you know Jamal Adams at all?
Yes, sir, I know of him.
Have you talked to him at all since you were drafted? He spent some time here.
Not much.
You have a degree, right, pre-vet?
Yes, sir, animal science.
How did that come about, and what was your interest in that?
Just growing up, I mean, I had a lot of interest in animals, so that's really what led to it.
And what would you like to do once, football's long over with? What would you like to do?
I play in the open my own vet practice, practicing in large animals specifically.
What is large animals?
Like horses, cattle, stuff like that. Farm animals.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
That's good. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.